Let's get an update from Kisumu before we come back to my panelists for more discussions on the way forward. Laura Otieno is on standby. Laura, I do understand that things have changed, sort of quiet down in Kisumu. Is that it?
Thank you very much, Fred Indimuli. And here in Kisumu, where more specifically in Kondele, and where we are right now is just opposite Kondele police station. And as you can see behind me, Fred, the crowd is pretty charged. The crowd keeps on swelling every time. They're basically coming here to just pump up the fire that they put up just below the Kondele roundabout. And police are also just trying to keep motorists, especially those using motorbikes, from using this road, which is the Kakamega Road. And of course, some angry residents are also pelting stones towards this side. As I told you, we're just opposite the Kondele police station, where heavy police presence is witnessed. I mean, they're basically just here throwing tear gas canisters to the crowd that's on the other side. They're basically trying to restrain them to stay on that one side of town. Now, we have only seen one area MCA, that is the MCA for Market Milimani Ward, Mr. Adui Nyang, who was leading demonstrators some area around town. But right now, as you can see, Fred, the police are basically trying to keep motorists from using this road, and the crowd is also pretty charged, pelting stones towards this side, towards the police officers. That is the situation right now here in Kondele. At the main bus stage where we were in the morning, we are being told that there is not so much action going on there. The only action where there's so much, the only place where there's so much chaos, or rather so much action, is here in Kondele, with that crowd basically trying to engage the police officers. But the police officers are staying put in their area. But as you can see, they're already in preparation for full combat. We're seeing the water cannons there. They're already geared up. Basically, they're just looking at the crowd, which is pelting stones perennially at them, Fred.
Thank you, Laura. Laura Otieno there live from Kondele in Kisumu County, where police appear to have managed to keep off the demonstrators from entering the central business district of Kisumu. Of course, in keeping with that directive yesterday, whether lawful or not, by CS Fred Matiang'i, restricting demonstrations to outside the central business districts of Mombasa, Nairobi and Kisumu. We'll be getting more updates from elsewhere. Yes, in Mombasa, I do understand something is happening. Let's listen in. Yes.
Sawa kanga, nishasikia bwana. Watu wote mpaka jue kawe ndo communication manager wangu wa. Tubo. Hai, tayari. Are you ready?
Simu Elia. Kuna simu ya nani?
Simu. Wajongo za kujua uko sawa. Watu wajongo washajua niko sawa. Ninakwambia mimi. Hai.
Nina nguo ya nani?
Sote tumeona vile kulivyoweza kuendelea, na tulianza maandamano kwa amani. We declared ya kwa nia na madhumuni ni kwa kuwe na amani, lakini tukianza pale tuliona na we are aware ya kwa hawa polisi wenyewe walikuwa wako pale wa very hesitant kujaribu kufanya jambo lolote. Tukifika mbele ya safari around Castle Royal, tukaona wanashuka. They were still very hesitant because they had no reason whatsoever kujaribu kufanya mambo ya kutupa yale tear gas. Tukifika roundabout ya Fontanella, again walikuwa wanajaribu, lakini there was again no reason. I think forces from above zimewashinda nguvu na ikabidi waweze kufanya hivyo. Me, all I want to tell the police is that they should realize that there is a law in this country where you cannot just pass the buck na kusema ya kwa mkubwa wangu ndo alinituma. Mimi najua wazi because the way they were very, very hesitant. But we're just saying that our rally is on for this Sunday, the biggest of rallies at Mamangina Drive. We are going to be on Sunday. Na tuambie tu ya kwa ikiwa wanaona tear gas is a solution to everything, then I can assure you that Kenyans have a better solution than just tear gas. So we are going to be on and we will be able to explain the way forward hiyo siku ya Jumapili. Lakini Mombasa has been peaceful. Hakuna sheria yoyote. They are using the Public Order Act kuweza kujaribu kuzuia maandamano haya. There is no form of disobedience ambayo imeweza kutokea katika Mombasa. Tumeweza kuwa na maandamano haya kila Jumatatu na Ijumaa kwa njia ya amani. Lakini basi tu yani hii serikali watu wanajiendesha kiroboti tu bila mipangilio yoyote. They just want to use thorax. This is not a solution, my friend. You do not run a country like that.
Haya. Mimi nataka kusema leo kwa tunalani vikali sana askari wale ambao waliturushia tear gas, na nataka kusema leo si mara ya kwanza Mombasa kufanya maandamano. Sisi tumekuwa watu wa amani na siku zote tumefanya maandamano. Karibu hii ni mara ya 5. Hakuna mfanyabiashara hata mmoja, hakuna mtu hata mmoja alijitokeza akasema kwa shughuli zake ziliweza kuharibika kwa ajili ya mambo ya maandamano ambao tunafanya hapa Mombasa. Kwa hivyo tunawaambia wafuasi wetu wote ya kwa kuwa siku ya Jumapili tutakutana pale Mamangina Drive, kwa sababu hii kitu ambayo tunafanya hapa tunaamini kwa tunafanya kulingana na mujibu wa sheria na katiba yetu ilivyoturuhusu kufanya. Hatukuamka tu kufanya maandamano. Kuna mambo ambayo hayajatupendeza yanayoendelea katika nchi hii. Ndio sababu ya kwa kuwa ikiwa hawezi kuelewa kwa ile lugha pale bunge, hawezi kuelewa kwa lugha ya mazungumzo, basi sheria inaturuhusu kupitia kwa njia ya maandamano ili kutuma message zetu. Kwa hivyo tunaambia watu wa Mombasa wawe na amani na wafuasi wetu wote wadumishe amani wakati wote, lakini maandamano yataendelea. Asante na Mwenyezi Mungu atubariki.
Mimi pia nachukua fursa hii kulani vikali kitendo cha polisi kurusha tear gas katika maandamano ya amani. Kwa kawaida polisi kabla hajavunja maandamano lazima awaeleze wale wahusika kwamba haya maandamano yenu yamekuwa haramu kwa sababu 1, 2. Baada ya hapo awape nafasi ya kuondoka. Kama hawakuondoka ndio tear gas inatumika. Lakini leo tumeona tear gas inatupwa kwa nyuma. Sisi tunaandamana mbele kwa amani, wao wanatupa tear gas kwa nyuma. Baada ya kutusimamisha mbele wakatueleza sababu gani wanataka kuvunja maandamano. Kwa hivyo tumesema polisi ilijaribu kuondolewa katika mikono ya wanasiasa. Ndio maana hizi police reforms tumesema pia hazijafanya kazi yake. Kwa sababu polisi bado wanaweza kutumiwa kwa mambo ya kisiasa bila wao kujali kwamba polisi sasa wamekuwa ni independent authority. Jambo lingine tulikuwa tunasisitiza leo ni kwamba no reforms no elections. Kwa sababu tumeona kwamba yale mambo 7 ambayo tulikuwa tumeyazungumzia awali kupitia kwa kinara wetu Mheshimiwa Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, hakuna hata moja ambalo limeweza kukubaliwa. Lile ambalo amezungumzia labda ni ile kufungua server ambao is too late kwa sasa. Kwa hivyo kitu tunataka ni kwamba zile minimum reforms 7 ambazo tumesema lazima zitekelezwe kwa ukamilifu, ndio sasa tuweze kuingia katika mchakato wa uchaguzi. Kwa hivyo tunasema Jumapili tutajieleza kwa kirefu wakati wa mkutano wetu wa Mamangina Drive.
Mother of all rallies.
Habari zenu. Katiba ya Kenya inaturuhusu kudemonstrate kuweza kutoa malalamiko yetu, na sisi kwa mara 4 sasa tumedemonstrate na amani. Hatuja kuwa na fujo yoyote, hatuja haribu mali ya mtu.
Some of the leaders there from Mombasa County actually commenting on the police action to disrupt the peaceful demonstrations there. We've had Abdul Samwad, Nasir MP Mvita, Mohamed Faki, Senator Mombasa, as well as some of the county leaders speaking there. Let's now get an update from Nairobi. Patrick Gunza is in town. Patrick, what exactly is happening within the Central Business District?
Thanks, Freddie. There is nothing much happening within the C.B.D. Besides just presence of police in various sections of this particular heart of the city. But then again, since morning, we've been trying to make rounds in different parts of the C.B.D. and we've realized that there is no indication of demonstrators making their way yet. But then again, as we were coming around this Supreme Court area, we came and bumped into a group of young men who've indicated to me that they are NASA supporters and they're here awaiting guidance from the alliance's leadership so that they can be told where they will be starting today's demonstration, which they indicate that is a must, albeit in a peaceful manner, because again they are saying that they will be looking forward to demonstrate and also try not to rub shoulders with law enforcers. So I will be engaging them in not so long a time to get to understand exactly how they've planned to go about today's demonstrations. But according to sources on different parts of the city, we are being told that there are organizations that are happening in the areas of Dagoretti, Mathari, as well as Embakasi, and we will be having different NASA groups actually charging towards town, and after they arrive here, they will be guided by their leaders on which directions to take. So I will be inviting some of them so that they can just bring us up to speed with today's planned demonstrations. Okay, perhaps if you may just begin by telling us your name and the role that you do play as far as this group goes.
Oh, my name is George Bush, and I'm a NASA supporter. And I came here today to participate in the mega demonstration, the grandmother of all demonstrations that was called today by the party leader. Yes. Again,
we saw already the government indicating that there will be no demonstrations allowed within the Central Business District, not only Nairobi but Mombasa and Kisumu as well. I wonder whether you're ready to actually conduct peaceful demonstrations and just at the periphery of these cities.
You see, Mr. Patrick, we even wonder. In fact, we start by denouncing those unfortunate utterances by the minister, because we don't know under what authority and by what right it is acting to curtail the freedom of the citizens of Kenya to peacefully demonstrate. Our constitution, more than any other document in the world, painfully submits to the sovereign will of the people. In a record of 5 articles in the constitution, from Article 1, Article 3, Article 37, Article 258, all those articles affirm the right of the people to protect, to affirm their civil liberties that are guaranteed by the constitution. So today we came here to affirm that right, and it is very unfortunate that Mr. Matiang'i is acting blindly, because he seems not to be reading the constitution, or is implementing it in a piecemeal fashion. As another supporters, we want to affirm to others who are still outside, who have not arrived in the city square, that organizations are ongoing across the county, specifically Nairobi, and today we are going to smoke out those Jubilee apologies who are holed up in anniversary towers from different fronts. And lastly, I would also want to talk about the methods that the police are using, to inflict fear on the people. Patrick, on the first day, when we came for demonstration, the first and second day, the police used very brutal acts of criminality to break the will of the people to resist. And on the second day, and the third and fourth day, the police, resorted to mobilizing those outlawed sects, the so-called Mungiki, to attack people directly. On the last day, the day before the last demonstration, the police now resorted to acts of terrorism. They sent a lone driver now to hit people along the road. Now today, we are seeing this, Matiang'i now restricting. He is now coming out as a terrorist who want to restrict the right of the people to freely demonstrate. We will not allow that, because when we fought for this constitution, all of us, our grandfathers at home, us who are in the city, all of us fought together for the constitution, and we will not allow anybody to deprive us of the rights that are enshrined in the constitution.
Thank you. But I do believe that you, as the youth supporters of NASA, you're equally going to uphold peace even as you actually participate in your democratic right.
Yeah, first and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. I'm called Washington Onyango, and I'm equally NASA supporter on behalf of youth of NASA. So, on the issue of peaceful demonstration, I want to be very categorical on the record that as NASA supporters, we are going to come out in large numbers just the way we did it on a Wednesday, and we are very peaceful. We are not destructive. Only the people who are provoking us are the policemen who are sent by the CS and the other people in the ministry and the authorities. They are the people provoking the NASA supporters, but with us we are very peaceful. Apart from the business community calling the Mungiki team who are calling themselves the business communities in the countries are the people provoking us, but with us we are very peaceful.
Thank you very much indeed. Labda na tueleze tu kuna mikakati yote ambayo mmepanga kutoka maeneo tofauti humu jijini kuhusiana na maandamano ya siku ya leo?
Ndio Patrick, tumepanga mikakati. Kwa sasa mimi naitwa Evan Sotiso, ni chairman ya ODM Doke Embakasi South. Vile minister alisema tusikuje kwa C.B.D, I think we need also protection. We are going to come in large numbers from various parts of Nairobi. From Embakasi, Mombasa Road, there's a group that is coming towards the town. Kutoka Embakasi, Bandera ya Kayole, from Mutagoleti, but our demonstration is peaceful. So we are asking the minister to also to provide security to demonstrators also. It is the right for it is our right to be protected also, not to protect the properties. Let him give protection to the business people in the C.B.D, not to tell us not to come to the C.B.D. We need protection as we are going to demonstrate peacefully. We are not going to encourage chaos. People who usually bring chaos are our opponents. So sisi kama wananaza ni tunafanya kazi yetu ya demonstration peaceful because we need reforms.
Thank you very much indeed, Freddie. There you go. You've heard from some of the NASA supporters, and they are indicating that there will be indeed they will be engaging in their peaceful demonstrations. We are waiting to see whether at all they will be actually peaceful, and if at all they will be allowed into the C.B.D. As you've heard, various groups are assembling in various parts of the county. They will be making their way in accordance to direction that will be given by NASA leaders. That's all I have for you from the Central Business District of Nairobi. I hand it over back to you.
Thank you, Patrick. Patrick Igunza there with an update from the Central Business District here in Nairobi. With regard to the NASA demonstrations, and yes, crowds are gathering, crowds intend to get into the Central Business District, so yes, do be prepared for that. I'm still in studio with Mary Mwangi, Joseph Simeha, Gabriel Muthuma, Nixon Korir, MP Langata, and Dr. James Nikal, MP Seme. We have moved on from the issue of demonstrations. Of course, I know you may want to comment on that as well. But now, issues to do with the way forward. Are we still going to have elections on October 26th, 12 days away? Will Raila Odinga be on the ballot paper? If not, what happens if Raila is still on the ballot paper and he says he insists he is not part of those elections? What if he wins? And what happens, Mary?
Those are the questions we all are asking. In the court of public opinion, as you're seeing there, we have so many NASA supporters, not only in Nairobi, but also in Mombasa, who are saying it is their right to picket. We also have C.S. Matiang'i on the other side saying, you must ensure the picketing is peaceful and it hasn't been peaceful. So what are we now going to do? Come 26th of October, the outcome will not be deemed legitimate. We must remember that the country is split almost halfway. And so there are those who will feel that this is not a legitimate process. The IEBC is insisting that they will carry on with the election. So the question now arises, will we see this kind of picketing continuing until certain changes are made? And so everything right now is up in the air. Even having the election on the 26th of October does not mean we'll see an end to this kind of picketing.
Yes. Sumera, of course, Jubilee and IEBC insist October 26th is still on. We're going for elections.
No, I think I was telling you earlier during break that the only big thing is the cremation of the King of Thailand.
On 26th of October.
That's the only big thing that will happen. But not an election. And you know, they could be whatever Jubilee and whoever else want to call an election, which will not be an election. And let's take this seriously. You know, Fred, Honorable Raila Odinga has access to very, very good legal advice. By the look of things, in Kenya in the last like 1 month, about 2 months, he actually has access to better legal advice than Uhuru Kenyatta. And I'm not just making this up, I'm telling you as a fact. That what you see happening has been very well thought through. Every imaginable corner has been, the team has gone through it. Yes. And when you
speak with authority on that because you were part of the NASA strategy team.
Absolutely, I speak with authority on that.
Yes.
When we say that Raila has, when he says rather that he has pulled out of the charade that they are calling an election in 26, he means exactly that. He has pulled, regardless of what Chebukati and anybody else says that about forms 24A and so on. And I think Dr. Nikal responded to Mheshimiwa Nixon very well. All those things had been looked into in advance, before even up to the timing of the decision. Everything was very deliberate. And my advice to Uhuru Kenyatta and his troops, don't underestimate, because this is not about to end.
So even if Raila Odinga's name is on the ballot paper, it's of no consequence.
It's a nullity. Yes. It's of no consequence. It will not give that whatever they are planning for 26 any legitimacy. Even if that process actually comes out and Raila is declared winner for that process, it will be a nullity, because he has withdrawn from what is supposedly happening on 26th. And it should not be confused with what some people are thinking, that Raila Odinga has withdrawn from the presidential contest in Kenya. That's different. Okay. What he has withdrawn from is what is supposedly happening on 26th. And he's given reasons like, let us sort out IEBs, let us agree as a nation, the way Dr. Mikal was saying earlier. Let us accept that what we have is not a legal problem, it's a serious political problem. Sit together as a nation, the political players, IEBC, sort out what led to the 8th of August and then Supreme Court and then the decision. Once we are satisfied as a nation that we've sorted that out, then let us go to a presidential contest. In fact, Raila has opted for a larger contest than the presidency. Just realizing that, hold on a minute, we thought we had sorted out this thing so that as a nation we can use this constitution to progressively inject reforms into different sectors of society. But you realize when you look at the last 4.5 or so years, that instead we have had a rollback. That perhaps it's time we stopped to even worrying about this thing called the presidency and go right back to the war of reforms in Kenya. And so he's providing leadership to people who have realized that, hold on a minute, without electoral justice, we do not have a way of first registering our desire in terms of leadership and governance in the nation. Neither do we have a way of, say, inflicting accountability on leaders whom we do not like because they've messed the country. And we realize the danger of closing that avenue. The just elections. When you close that avenue, people resort to other means. Look at those demonstrations. Let me just go back to them, for example. Yes. When you block people from demonstrating a legitimate avenue to express disaffection, then you begin to see those slings. They're unacceptable, they are wrong. I'm not justifying them, but I'm saying it's human nature that you stop people from using a legitimate means of expression, they immediately resort to other means. Now, when we have electoral injustices, we are restricting people from making their choices in life And for all of us, let's face it, I've heard around this table, some of us say that people who are not interested in politics. It sets the pace in society. Politics, unfortunately, even for business people, it sets the pace in society. So we need to have progressive, right kind of politics. And if you have millions of people who feel that the path to that kind of politics is closed, they resort to many other means, some of which may not be desirable. So instead of just pushing towards that, the decision of the NASA leadership is, you know what, let's go back to the bigger fight. It's not about the presidency now. It's an existential struggle that we must remind ourselves. So, you know, you will see a lot more beyond 26.
Yes. But Jubilee has been accused, Gabriel, of chest thumping and insisting on this process on the 26th, of course, based on their interpretation of the law and the Constitution. But that insistence could cause problems as well. We're already seeing the kind of agitation. And that reaction by C.S. Matiang'i speaks a lot because, yes, the government is getting fed up of this agitation, but that agitation will continue as long as this process appeared to be forced down the throats of a section of the country, don't you think?
Fred, let me begin from where my good friend Demeka has actually left, and this is in terms of reforms. I honestly don't believe that today you're a reformer and tomorrow you're not, or at one particular time you were a reformer. Came a period where you had the instruments of power in an effect. You stopped being a reformer. When you're not, you again become a reformer. What am I talking about? We started talking about electoral reforms in 2007-2008, actually 2008. And if you looked at that particular time when the Honorable former Prime Minister Raila was indeed the Prime Minister, he had the majority in Parliament. We had issues. We had he had front row tickets, or front row seats, if I may put it, to bring any electoral reforms he wished. 10 years ago, we are talking about the very same thing today. That is the element of reform, that today we need to sit down and talk about reforms, which we have failed to do even the time we had the instruments of power and an entire parliament was actually at your beck and call.
Are you saying we no longer should continue with that push for reforms?
I am not saying we do not, but we are talking about a reform that would come a little bit late, even though that is the direction we want to go. But notwithstanding, there are legal ways of undergoing that process. And if you look at the issues even on Agenda 4, electoral reforms was actually a serious subject on Agenda 4, primarily because it is the only key architect that almost burnt this country in 2007. So I would have hoped, as a reformer, the first order of business that would have happened in this country in 2008, 2009, 2010 would have been nothing but talking about maximum electoral reforms. Now you tell me why that has not taken place, and that's a subject for another day. But I would really love to hear what my good friend Simaka would say in that regard. Now, coming to the issue of Chebukati, I'll agree with my good friend. Really, when you talk about a law, a statutory form that brings in a key element of nominations, and they never happened. See, Raila Odinga has a constitutional mandate and a democracy, and he is actually mandated as a person democratically to withdraw. But that does not mean that the exercise will not take place. Whatever you want to call it, you call it. But as far as we know, or many Kenyans know, there is an election on the 26th. And this is what I'm talking about. When we are sitting to talk about dialogue, like my good friend has said, people need to come together. What is the ionis of that meeting? Where will it be held? Because as far as I know, dialogue has a house called Parliament. That is where it should be happening.
Let me ask you a question, Gabriel.
Yes.
What do you see happening after the 26th of October, in your own perspective?
Depending on the results that come, you're looking at two things, and two things only. Who will be the winner at that particular time? IEBC, and this is where now somebody needs, people need, and NASA really, they need to explain the kind of dialogue that we are talking about, as I answer your question, whether it can be dealt with through Parliament, because you're talking about a constitutional.
So are you anticipating dialogue after 26th? Or
but what dialogue? What dialogue? Because you're looking at a directive from the Supreme Court.
What do you anticipate will happen?
I am seeing whoever becomes or wins that election is announced as the winner, and they start preparing. Yes, and they start preparing for the swearing in, and that's. I mean, that I am following. As a matter of fact, we are following Fred. We are following a constitutional offing, which is a repeat within 60 days. That's in the Constitution, and a Supreme Court directive. There is nowhere dialogue is captured within our Constitution, and that's why I'm asking, why must we on one end talk constitutionalism, and where the provisions of the Constitutions are well defined, we want to jump off?
Nixon Korir, you're nodding in agreement to Gabriel Muthuma that the only thing that will happen after 26 is that the winner is declared and swearing in ceremony, and the country moves on.
Yes,
that's simple.
You know, we are dealing with a situation here where we have one of our opponents who wants us to follow Constitution when it favors him, and when it doesn't favor him, he doesn't want us to follow the Constitution. He says, this is what the argument we are getting. This is political. This is not about the law. In essence, what we are witnessing right now is an opponent who has sensed defeat, and he wants to pull the competition from the ballot to the streets. What we are witnessing right now, the demonstrations, is a well-calculated crisis that Raila Odinga knows that he's losing on 26th, and he wants to pull it out of the ballot, and he doesn't want to go to Parliament because Jubilee has the majority. In 2003, NAC had the majority, and it was a good thing then. Now it is not a good thing to have a majority. So what we are saying is that we are dealing with an opponent here who doesn't want to follow the law so long as the law does not favor him. But when it favors him, it is okay, and we can praise it. What we are saying as Kenyans is that we are tired of this going around. We stick to the law. The negotiations and the dialogue that we want to do is on 26th, and it's in the ballot. It is the dialogue between Kenyans
and after
on
that,
the ballot.
We just move on.
We follow the law.
Okay. Dr. James Nikal, I'm sure you disagree with that.
Yeah.
What, according to your opinion, what will happen after the 26th?
What will happen after the 26th is predicated on what brought about the situation that we are attempting to address on 26th. The elections that took place on the 8th were not properly carried out within the law and even the Constitution. And the court came to that decision.
Right.
And the court directed, go and do it within this time and do it properly. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go into those details. But in my mind, that properly means the things that went wrong within IBC that made this happen should be corrected.
Right.
And we were just watching here, IBC itself has admitted that many things went wrong. I said earlier, I'm really surprised that President Uhuru was annoyed with the judge and not IBC, because IBC was the problem. So the minimum reducible conditions that NASA is putting in place is actually around IBC and how the election was conducted. Now, if those changes have not been made, you would have to be mad to then go into that election, because you can't do something the same way and expect a different result. It has now been made worse, because now, following what the court said, we have unilaterally decided that we are going, because we have majority in Parliament, we are going to use Parliament to bring in new laws that in this case favors us. Where or not does a competitor write the regulations of the competition?
Your colleagues here insist that after the 26th, the winner is declared, sworn in, and we move on.
So we need, the way forward we need is this. We actually have to see this as a political issue around the reforms that are required within IBC. And again, we have had problem with IBC, Isaac Hassan, and so on. We must start asking ourselves, this probably is the place we should keep looking at. Reforms are not for once, they continue. So that is the bigger picture that we should look at. And normally when you have a bigger picture than the letter of the law, then you actually need to look at the political solution. When you get that solution, you can actually now go back to the to Parliament and get it actually interred.
So it won't be done on October 26th.
I'm coming to that. We did that even with the Constitution itself. When they were going to Naivasha, there are areas that were agreed in Naivasha and then was brought into Parliament. We did that with the Accord. The Accord was agreed outside politically and then brought into Parliament and stopped the massacre that was going in 2008. I was the Director of Medical Services. Some of the things I saw, we are happy that we had that Accord outside Parliament. Even just before this election, there was the change of the election laws. And again, we nearly went into the same impasse. Again, we went outside, looked at it politically and agreed. And that is what brought where we were saying, not a comma. And it was passed within the Parliament, not a comma. So once again, I'm saying, we have reached a situation where we need that. We are refusing and moving to 26. And as you just said at the beginning, IBC and Jubilee are insisting. That is what is happening. IEBC and Jubilee are insisting.
Not my words. No, not my words. Otherwise, I was just stating facts.
No, let me just finish.
So briefly, because we need to go for a break.
So what we are saying, if people go and then we have an election and NASA is not in it, we will continue with our pursuit of reforms.
Okay.
If we will go to demonstration, we will continue with them.
Okay.
Are we expected to recognize a leadership that comes out of a process that we didn't recognize at the beginning?
Okay. We'll get the way forward from the other panelists after the break in a short while.